Before the college entrance exam, the school beauty came to me and asked me to help her deliver a love letter to her top student desk mate, but I refused, because their grades were too far apart and they were in different places. They didn't end up together. Jiang Xingyue became the white moonlight in Gu Yan's heart, a lifelong obsession for him. Years later, after achieving great success, he brought up the past, and Jiang Xingyue, now a married celebrity, expressed regret. They once again ruined my life. I opened my eyes again and found myself back before the college entrance exam. I casually pulled over the classmate next to me. The teacher wants to see me. Have him come instead. Xiao Shu, can you help me put this on Gu Yan's desk? As soon as I opened my eyes, the heart-pounding sensation of falling from a great height and the excruciating pain at the top of my head hadn't subsided yet. I stared blankly at the pink note being handed to me. In my previous life, I had turned my head to avoid it, kept walking without stopping, and went straight to the teacher's office with my workbook. The campus belle blamed her poor performance in the college entrance exam entirely on me, claiming that I deliberately prevented her and my deskmate from expressing their feelings for each other, which she said was the reason she couldn't focus and performed poorly. With her beautiful face in tears, she spoke the cruelest words. Amidst the public condemnation, I became the villain who tore apart the perfect couple. The jealous and malicious homewrecker. Because I attended the same university as Gu Yan, I was constantly pointed at and whispered about. Spending 4 years with my head bowed. He resents me, even hates me. He resents me for not letting them express their feelings to each other, and hates me for causing him to lose his beloved forever. My personal information was exposed, and I was condemned by countless people. After my mother died in a car accident, I jumped from the roof of my high school building. Why did I refuse? I had some hidden thoughts. I have liked Gu Yan for 8 years. He is the boy I have liked since I was young, and I didn't want to push him towards someone else. When Gu Yan was 8 years old, he moved next door to my house with his parents. Our families had business dealings, so our relationship naturally grew much closer. Moreover, since Gu Yan's parents often went on business trips, my mother would bring him over to our house for meals. I was mischievous and playful from a young age. My parents often said I didn't act like a girl at all, more like a tomboy. Gu Yan, on the other hand, was very quiet. He would read quietly, eat quietly, and quietly help me clean up the messes I made. We are like the waning moon of the first and last quarters, coming together to form a perfect circle. Every day after school, he walked beside me, listening to my chatter with a smile in his eyes. From time to time, he would pull me gently, reminding me to watch my step. Gu Yan, let's go to the best university together in the future. Okay. I once thought we would continue like this forever. The adolescent years of growth always bring significant changes. Gu Yan's stature suddenly shot up. His face grew increasingly handsome, and his features became more defined. As for me, I could only be considered somewhat delicate and pretty. The way people referred to us shifted from the perfect childhood sweethearts to friends who grew up together. I sensitively sensed the change, and the affection that had been brewing for years now choked my heart with bitterness. No longer able to be spoken, my thoughts returned, and before me was Jiang Xinyue's slightly provocative gaze. I casually pulled over a classmate beside me. The teacher wants me. Have him come in. I coldly dropped the words and walked toward the office with my workbook in hand. On the way, I quickly sorted out my current situation. Since I've gotten a second chance, I absolutely won't let you get involved. You're a heartless man and a lowly woman. I'll never let you ruin my life again. After a moment's thought, I walked into the office to find my homeroom teacher. Teacher, I've been having some minor issues with my eyes lately and can't see the blackboard clearly. Could I move a bit closer to the front? Xiao Zhou is on a long sick leave, and her seat has been empty. Could I sit there instead? The homeroom teacher readily agreed. After all, I was one of the top 10 students in my grade. So, I rubbed my eyes hard and returned to the classroom to pack up my things. Xiao Shu, what did the homeroom teacher want with you? Were you crying? Did he scold you? The classmate in front turned around and asked with concern. No. It's just that my eyes seem to have a minor issue. I made several mistakes copying notes from the blackboard last time. So the teacher called me over to ask about it. He also suggested I move to the front to avoid making more mistakes. Gu Yan wasn't at his seat. So the classmate in front started gossiping with me about everything that had just happened. Xiao Shu, the school's most popular girl, just gave a love letter to your desk mate. A confession. He went out right after reading it. Do you think they'll end up together? I tidied up my desk, suppressing the lump in my throat, and nodded firmly. They will. Soon. Rumors spread like wildfire that the school's top boy and girl were dating, even catching the attention of the teachers. Gu Yan was a top candidate for valedictorian, nurtured since freshman year. Teachers subtly hinted at him in class, but dared not directly pressure him. Gu Yan did come to me, saying, "Qiao Qiao, why did you change seats? And why have you been ignoring me lately?" I sighed, looked into his eyes, and said seriously, "Gu Yan, we grew up together. You know how I feel about you. So don't pretend to be clueless. Since you have a girlfriend now, I'll let go of my feelings for you." Gu Yan guiltily averted his gaze. "You're like family to me. I never meant to hurt you." I thought to myself, "Oh, really? But you'll make me feel pierced by 1,000 arrows, leaving me riddled with wounds, and you say you won't hurt me." Hypocrite, acting all righteous. But I still said, "No, we're just classmates now. I don't like you anymore, and I don't want to get involved in your affairs. Let's just stop here. From now on, we'll go our separate ways." Gu Yan hesitated for a while but said nothing more. Once I admired his quietness, but now I detest his indecisiveness. Later, he was immersed in the sweetness of love and had no time to pay attention to me. He was busy making sure to send his girlfriend home on time. So, we wouldn't be going home together anymore. Under the streetlight, my shadow stretched long and thin, all alone. This path, in the end, I must walk by myself. In the days that followed, I devoted all my energy to practicing problems. I ignored everything outside, focusing solely on studying. I listened attentively for the full 40 minutes in class, and as soon as there was a break, I rushed to the teacher's office to ask questions. In the quiet of the night, as I work on my problems, I occasionally can't help but shed tears. These peaceful days are truly, truly wonderful. No one frantically knocks on the door, no incessant phone calls, and no barrage of insults. I deliberately avoid getting involved in the gossip among my classmates, steering clear of any news about Gu Yan and Jiang Xinyue. Yet I can't help but listen, watch, and even harbor a malicious hope that they meet a bad end. Gu Yan is indeed different from before. In the past, during breaks, he would always stay at his seat reading books, solving problems, and helping classmates with their questions. But now, I sit anxiously awaiting the bell to end class, only to enter the classroom just as the next class begins. My face filled with regret, especially in the later stages of the sprint, when the entire class was quietly focused on solving problems. Gu Yan's footsteps became even more noticeable. They embraced in a small grove, kissed in tight corners, secretly letting everyone know they were in love. In the monotonous and tedious sprint towards the college entrance exams, they were a rare source of gossip. Handsome boys and beautiful girls, the campus queen and Qin Jif, they were to come together. It would indeed make for a wonderful story. Unfortunately, the campus queen was truly just a pretty face. She couldn't soar, and she wanted to drag Gu Yan down with her. Sure enough, after the results of the mock exams were released, Gu Yan fell from his pedestal, and the myth of his unwavering first place was shattered. While he was affectionately caressing his lover's cheek, someone else grasped a key concept and improved by 3 points. While he was indulging in his lover's sweet voice, someone else finished an entire mock exam book and improved by another 3 points. The head teacher finally took action, forcing Gu Yan and Jiang Xinyue to stop meeting. After every class, the head teacher would stand at the back door of the classroom, blocking the way. And finally, Gu Yan was able to stay seated. But at this age, the more people try to dissuade and prevent a love, the deeper it becomes. etched into the very marrow. The final days passed amid the teacher's scoldings toward Gu Yen. And before we knew it, the college entrance exam had arrived. I, as if blessed by a divine hand, kept writing diligently and performed far beyond my usual level. Xiao Shu finally finished the exam. How did you do? The student in front of me smiled and linked her arm with mine. I felt like I wrote really smoothly today. I hope I get a good score. The girl in front of me always performs well academically, usually ranking within the top 20 in the grade during mock exams. Do you know? Gu Yen left all the big questions blank on the last exam half the test paper. Is he mentally ill? Has he gone crazy? I couldn't help but gasp in shock. Really? He's gone crazy. I was sitting right behind him diagonally, and when we left the classroom, I saw this entire side was blank. Really eye-catching. Even though I had suspected it, I still found it hard to believe that Gu Yen had fallen so far for Jiang Xingyue. After over a decade of hard study, I know how much he has struggled. His parents have sacrificed so much for his future, hoping only that he could get into a good university, have a promising career, and live a more comfortable life. It's precisely because I've seen Aunt Gu rushing around with Gu Yen to competitions, looking pale with dark circles under her eyes, and because I've seen Gu Yen holding a trophy, charging toward his dreams with a bright and clear spirit. So, the current Gu Yen has completely rotted and stunk in my heart. To be honest, I look down on him. I'm no longer afraid of him. We're no longer from the same world, it's meaningless. The classmates gathered at a KTV for a party, and Gu Yen brought Jiang Xingyue along too. As soon as Jiang Xingyue appeared, all the conversation immediately centered around the two of them. Why bring her to our class gathering? She's just an outsider. Doesn't her class have a private room? Why is she always hanging around here? Gradually, the classmates began whispering to each other. With an outsider present, everyone became more reserved, and the atmosphere grew less lively, especially since everyone knew that Gu Yen had deliberately refused to take the exam for her. As a result, even their respect and politeness toward Gu Yen had faded. Oh my! I heard that Xiao Shu grew up with our Gu Yen. Their childhood sweethearts. Jiang Xinyue's delicate voice was directed at me. I was holding a plate and eating cake, not even lifting my eyes. Too lazy to pay her any attention. I've always envied such a bond. But unfortunately, I grew up alone. Another moment of silence fell. Xiao Shu, are you angry with me? Could it be you're unhappy that I'm with Gu Yen? Do you like our Gu Yen? I sighed, put down the plate, and grabbed a tissue to wipe my mouth. No, I don't like him. You two are a good match. Jiang Xingyue still wouldn't let it go. I know. It's natural for a girl to have feelings for a brother she grew up with. I don't mind. This is forcing the label of liking Gu Yen onto me. Right here and now. Sometimes I really don't understand why she always tries to get close to me, when clearly I haven't spoken to Gu Yen at all these past few months. I glanced at Gu Yen, wanting to see how he'd react, whether he'd just let his girlfriend act so stubbornly and unreasonable. Gu Yen avoided my gaze, but still took Jiang Xinyue's hand. Xiao Shu is my childhood friend. You're overthinking it. Yeah. Let's go check out your class's private room. The classmate in front of me leaned over and whispered. At least they have some conscience. Are these two sick? Coming to a class reunion to show off their affection so tasteless. Feeling the subtle glances from my classmates around me, I knew I couldn't just sit back and do nothing. I picked up the drink in front of me, stood up, and said to everyone, maybe they're just having a little argument as a couple, and I don't know why they dragged me into it. We've all been buried in studying and solving problems together these past few months. I'm completely innocent. The classmate in front of me chimed in at just the right moment. Are we just part of their little game too? As soon as these words were spoken, everyone burst into laughter and raised their glasses. I spoke up loudly. Classmates, the light boat has passed through countless mountains. With the spirit of youth, we can command the world. Come on. Cheers. Let's keep the music playing and keep dancing. When the college entrance exam results came out, everyone was shocked. Gu Yan had fallen even further into depravity and madness than we had imagined. A few seconds after the system opened the score-checking channel, the crisp sound of shattering dishes came from next door. Then, intense arguments and wailing followed. I had performed exceptionally well, but before my parents could fully immerse themselves in the joy, they heard the exaggerated commotion from next door. "What's going on with the old Gu family? Should we go check on them?" I quickly grabbed my parents' hands and said, "No. Gu Yan and I had a falling out a long time ago. He even let his girlfriend give me a hard time at the class reunion." Dad got angry. "Why didn't you mention this before? Did they bully you? That little brat. I'll go teach him a lesson." I pulled back even harder. No. I fought back against all of it. "Anyway, let's keep our distance from them from now on." Hearing the arguments from the next room, I felt sympathy for my uncle and aunt, but also a secret sense of satisfaction. At this time in my past life, my photo was posted on the school forum, with comments full of curses and insults calling me a third party, along with cruel remarks about my appearance. I was just an ordinary girl, and even looked decently pretty, yet I was subjected to countless verbal attacks. I hid under the covers, crying while scrolling through those comments. The joy of achieving good grades vanished instantly, replaced by an overwhelming wave of pain that left me breathless. In the end, I was too afraid to return to school to fill out my college applications myself, and had to let my mother do it for me. The most beautiful holidays of my life I spent huddled at home, afraid to go out and run into someone who knew me. Now, as a reward for my excellent grades, my whole family is traveling together. We admired the shimmering rivers in the canyons, and were awed by the endless mountain ranges stretching for thousands of miles. Amidst the vast and boundless world, I suddenly let go, seeing the limitless expanse, and the profound silence of all things. I suddenly understood the true meaning of rebirth. Seeking revenge and restoring honor is only a small part. Don't waste time fixating on it. I truly began to let go of Gu Yan and Jiang Xinyue. No longer avoiding or feeling timid. The distance between us had already grown. In the class's small group chat, classmates would occasionally discuss Gu Yan. Gu Yan, who was a top candidate with over 700 points, had ruined his own chances and ended up with less than 600 points. Even so, he still scored several dozen points higher than Jiang Xinyue. During the trip, Aunt Gu called me. Her voice sounded hoarse from crying, and she seemed weak. Halfway through the conversation, she couldn't even speak anymore, and Uncle Gu had to take over the phone. Uncle Gu wasn't doing well either. Dad said he seemed distracted, had made several mistakes in his business recently, and had been criticized by people in the industry multiple times. I said nothing, comforted Auntie Gu briefly, then hung up the phone, listening to Dad muttering beside me. Our family had helped them many times before, but given Uncle Gu's current reputation, we couldn't afford to help again. See, one person's recklessness can ruin an entire family. Likewise, one person's growth can also uplift a family. Carrying a bunch of local specialties and gifts, I headed home. Just as I reached the ground floor, I noticed someone crouched on the windowsill of the neighboring apartment. Squatting. Yes, Gu Yan was squatting on the windowsill, holding onto the window frame, leaning out to observe the thick, long water pipe beside him. It seemed he heard Aunt Gu's loud shout. Gu Yan, clinging to the water pipe, lost his grip and fell straight down. My parents' faces turned pale with fright, and they rushed over to check on him. I took out my phone and dialed 120. Fortunately, the third floor wasn't particularly high, and Gu Yan had slid quite a distance along the pipe. There was no life-threatening danger, but his left leg was fractured. I looked down at the boy on the ground, hugging his legs in pain, suddenly feeling so unfamiliar. I had seen him full of youthful vigor, and also seen him mature and composed in his successful career. But who is this person now? As I watched the ambulance drive away, I received a delivery the admission letter from Top 1 University. It doesn't matter anymore. My future is bright and brilliant. This incident led Aunt Gu to give in, and Gu Yan ended up attending an ordinary university together with Jiang Xinyue. I arrived at my new campus. And relying on memories from my past life and continuous efforts in this one, my academic performance has consistently ranked among the top. I've finally figured out what I truly want to do, and who I want to become. My dream has truly returned to my childhood. I want to become a scientist. So I chose nuclear engineering as my major. Nuclear engineering is a completely new field for me, and every day is fulfilling. I may not be as smart as others, so I can only work a little harder than them. Although I study until my hair feels like it's falling out every day, I still feel excited and thrilled. From my freshman to junior year, I actively participated in various competitions and closely followed every research announcement from the school. At first, I had no experience and could only receive a participation award. Later, as my experience grew and I learned more, I was able to secure gold and national awards. Having accumulated enough awards, finally, in the second semester of my junior year, I submitted an application to the university for an opportunity to join the laboratory. Although I was still too young, I was sufficiently outstanding, and the university specially approved my qualification to enter the laboratory. Although I was only assisting my senior classmates, I gained immensely, witnessing various atoms and rays and observing countless sophisticated instruments. Under my persuasion, my parents gradually relocated the family business to Kyoto. Although our quality of life slightly declined, the potential for future development was limitless. Whenever I have time, I go home to have meals and go on picnics with my parents, cherishing every second I spend with them. By the time I graduated in my senior year, I had become proficient in operating most of the instruments in the lab and was capable of participating in projects and discussions. My senior sister and senior brother, who were a couple, basically treated me like their daughter. And I was truly happy. During these 4 years, I occasionally heard about Gu Yan and Jiang Xinyue. They broke up and got back together several times, and the whole story was quite dramatic. In my previous life, Gu Yan became well known in the academic circle during his senior year. He had already published several papers as the first author during his undergraduate studies, which were highly valuable, and many labs were eager to recruit him. This time, he truly remained unknown. Who even knew who Gu Yan was? He was confined to trivial emotions and affections, especially those that were ill-timed and misguided, trapping himself at the bottom of a well. Even the most talented eagle, raised among chickens, would find it difficult to learn how to fly. During my 3rd year of graduate school, my senior classmates and I collaborated on a national-level project, researching how to actively improve weapon conditions using nuclear resources. The 3 of us have been officially listed at the National Research Institute as intern researchers and are being groomed for key roles. I have also authored several high-quality first author papers, with one even published in an international scientific journal. Now, many people are aware of a rising star in the scientific community, Joshua. Finally, I am surrounded by goodwill, admiration, and a good reputation. The school provided us with a new laboratory, equipped with more precise and complex instruments, and the confidentiality level of the lab was extremely high. While conducting research on atomic conversion, a minor error occurred in the ratio, but the consequences were significant. A small explosion took place inside the lab's sealed container. The commotion was substantial, alerting our supervisor downstairs. Although we only sustained minor scratches, our supervisor immediately bundled the 3 of us into a car and drove straight to the hospital. While waiting in line to register, I saw Gu Yan. He was still tall and thin, but his skin had become much rougher than before, his eyes less bright, and his clothes slightly wrinkled. Our eyes met, and he held his registration slip, awkwardly tugging at the corner of his mouth. "Qiao Qiao, what are you doing here? Are you sick?" A long unheard name. I was a bit taken aback. "Gu Yan, long time no see. I just have a minor scratch, so I came to the hospital to check it out and pick up some medicine." "Oh, I see. Qiao Qiao, you've become much prettier. Did you start working?" "No. I'm still studying. I'm currently doing some research work." The topic was quite dry, and we were both struggling to keep the conversation going. "Ah Yan, I'm done over here. Jiang Xinyue's voice came from the left. She was still beautiful, but with heavy makeup. She looked a bit more tacky than before. I glanced at the department behind her. I couldn't see clearly, but with all the pregnant women with swollen bellies around, I understood the situation. This is Xiao Shu. You. I almost didn't recognize you. Jiang Xinyue froze when she saw me, then visibly panicked, clutching onto Gu Yan's arm with both hands and hugging tightly. Before looking up at him, the senior sister sitting beside her kicked her senior brother with her foot. He received the signal and quickly stood up. Xiao Shu. It's our turn now. The professor is still waiting over there. Let's go. My senior brother is very tall and handsome, standing nearly 1.9 meters. Which gives him a strong imposing presence when he stands up. He grabbed my shoulder and started walking, and I was slightly surprised. So I could only follow his force and hurriedly said goodbye without even finishing my farewell. Once we were out of sight, he let go of my shoulder. How was that? Wasn't my senior brother generous enough? I shyly looked at my senior sister. My senior sister smiled. It's okay. I asked him to do it. The atmosphere just now was clearly off. So I had my elder brother help you out. I affectionately linked arms with my senior sister. Thank you. Senior sister. Senior sister. Give me a hug. After leaving university, I continued my studies at a research institute for several more years, participating in several national key experimental projects. Now, I can be respectfully addressed as Professor Chiao. Perhaps because I've been busy reviewing materials and conducting experiments, which consumes a lot of energy. I've become much thinner than before. And my features have grown more defined. Coupled with long-term inner cultivation, my overall demeanor has become very calm and serene. When the television station came to the research institute for an interview, my colleagues asked me to step forward and speak. My popular science lecture on nuclear engineering was broadcast on CCTV and garnered over 100 million views on short video platforms, making it somewhat of a hit. As a result, for any future popular science lectures or interviews, the Research Institute has assigned me to serve as the spokesperson. I have been in relationships before, but none of them led to marriage. It's not that I don't want to get married. I engage in relationships to fulfill my emotional needs, to make my life more complete, just an added bonus, so to speak. They didn't make me feel the desire to get married. I had finally broken free from the shackles of life and death, and I didn't want to burden myself with the chains of marriage again. Moreover, since I live at the Research Institute year-round, taking on the responsibilities of marriage, childbirth, and education would be too heavy a load. The result of weighing the two sides would most likely be losing both. High school classmates reunited, choosing a private room at a restaurant. Many people showed up, but Gu Yan didn't come. After eating and drinking to our heart's content, everyone started chatting. When the conversation turned to me, they all teased me. Xiao Shu, you're amazing. My son was watching your lecture the other days, really idolizes you. Right. Now we have to call you Professor Chiao. I saw the news report about the new achievement earlier. You were the main person in charge. Right. Right now, you're probably the most knowledgeable person in our class. Back then, Gu Yan was also incredibly talented. As soon as those words were spoken, many people fell silent for a moment. Perhaps they all thought of the former academic prodigy Gu Yan, who is now obscure and forgotten, a sense of regret lingering in the air. So the topic shifted to Gu Yan. I invited him. Thought he'd come over for a meal together. Sigh. Even so, he really helped me solve a lot of problems back then. Exactly. Many concepts only made sense after asking him. He explained things so well. What a shame. I wonder how he and that campus belle are doing now. They were quite famous at that university. There were always posts about them on the school forum. I don't know about now, though. The person in front of me leaned in close to my ear and whispered, I know they got married. I remembered seeing them at the hospital before, heading to the prenatal checkup department. It made sense now. Their child must be a few years old by this point. The person in front said, they got married only after having a child, and they didn't even bother to have a proper wedding. But I heard the other day that they might have divorced. I don't know if it's true or not. I was a bit surprised, but didn't feel anything else. Next. The person in front shared some gossip from Gu Yan's school forum with me. Gu Yan and Jiang Xinyue drew attention as soon as they entered school. Their looks were simply stunning, and they were regulars on the confession wall. At first, Gu Yan was indeed studying seriously. He was often secretly photographed studying in the library, which made Jiang Xinyue quite jealous. So, starting one day, Jiang Xinyue began showing up at the library too. But how could she ever be the type to sit quietly and study? Bored and restless, Jiang Xinyue started bothering Gu Yan, and the noise they made even made it onto the forum. Though this time, it was a complaint post. Gu Yan was probably too embarrassed, so he rarely went to the library after that. He not only had to study his own major, but also had to think of ways to encourage Jiang Xinyue to study. One can't focus on two things at once. So Gu Yan's grades remained consistently average. The school's resources were already limited, and now even less of them were falling to him. Gu Yan and Jiang Xinyue got married in their senior year, which caused a small stir. Jiang Xinyue even posted their marriage certificate online to declare her claim. As I was watching, the person in front suddenly interjected. You see, Jiang Xinyue always gets jealous, but she never turns down anyone who flatters her. Gu Yan gets jealous too clearly. They're from the same family, not entering the same door. Both of them are pretty dramatic. I asked curiously, what happened with the divorce? The person in front of me thought for a moment and lowered their voice. It seems Jiang Xinyue was caught cheating, and Gu Yan finally stood his ground for once, dragging her straight to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get divorced. He didn't even ask for custody of the child. I sighed inwardly, wondering who could have imagined that the gears of fate would turn out this way. And all it took to change everything was just one love letter. That thin sheet of paper separates two entirely different lives. After my parents moved to Kyoto, they worked diligently and doubled the family business, making many new connections. When I entered the research institute, they became even more excited, full of energy, and their health improved significantly. They kept talking about expanding the business and striving to live many more years. That way, if I fail in my project and get caught, they can find someone to help get me out. I found it amusing, but seeing them so spirited and full of fight, I let them be. Our weekend routine was making dumplings as a family. I only knew how to roll out the wrappers, so I sat aside watching my mom prepare the filling. Suddenly, my mom's phone on the table rang. It was a call from Aunt Gu. Mom stirred the bowl with chopsticks and said to me, "Xiao Shu, answer the phone. Mom's busy." I pressed the answer button. "Hello, Aunt Gu." After a brief silence on the other end, Gu Yan's tired voice came through. "Xiao Shu. It's me, Gu Yan. Is there something you need?" "My mom's busy, but you can tell me too, Josh. My mom is in the hospital and needs surgery. At Kyoto Hospital, but we just can't get a slot. So, could you please help us pull some strings?" Before I could say anything, Gu Yan quickly added, "My mom's condition is a bit complicated, and we really can't wait any longer. I'm truly begging you." After thinking for a moment, I said, "I know the director at Kyoto Hospital. Send me the details, and I'll help you get in touch." When Aunt Gu was having her surgery, my mom and I brought some dumplings and went to the hospital. Gu Yan sat on a chair outside the hospital ward, looking haggard and emaciated, with dark stubble sprouting on his face and red-rimmed eyes, clearly having endured a long ordeal. Mom handed the dumplings to Gu Yan, urging him to eat something. He swallowed with difficulty, remaining silent, looking utterly disheveled. I think he is miserable, but I do not pity him. In my previous life, when he stood high and mighty, guiding public opinion to cyberbully me, I was also pitiful. When I jumped from the rooftop, I was the more pitiful one. But back then, who pitied me? After the surgery, the attending doctor explained the situation. This operation could only alleviate the patient's suffering but would not slow the progression of the illness. It was already an advanced stage, and there was no saving her. Aunt Gu probably had only about 2 months left. Gu Yen stumbled out of the ward dazed, sat down, and buried his face deeply in his hands. I asked him, why did Auntie Gu suddenly fall ill? She was always in good health before. Gu Yen seemed to suddenly lose all his strength, breaking down into loud sobs. It's all my fault. All my fault. The doctor said this illness is caused by excessive worry and grief. I made her angry too many times. I've let her down so much. Gu Yan's voice trembled, his words incoherent. I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. I shouldn't have been with Jiang Xinyue. I shouldn't have neglected my studies. I shouldn't have acted so recklessly. I was wrong. I was wrong. Watching this man sobbing uncontrollably, I suddenly had an idea and spoke lightly. You're so smart. Even if you had just gone to medical school back then, you could have cured Auntie's illness yourself. I let out a faint sigh and turned away. Regret it. Just keep regretting it, replaying over and over in your mind the beautiful ending you could have had. Layering upon layer of guilt upon yourself. Did I take revenge? Actually, I didn't do anything. And this time I even extended a helping hand. But I got the result I wanted. And I felt an overwhelming sense of satisfaction. Death is too easy. It's better to live on, filled with regret, for a long time, with memories of once being exceptionally outstanding, trapped in a situation where he is now powerless. The torment from both sides will accompany him forever. At first, he might resent his own wrong choices, but as time goes on, he can't bring himself to blame himself anymore. He will start blaming others, blaming the person who influenced his decisions. Even the purest, most flawless white moonlight will eventually turn into a grain of rice stuck to the sole of a shoe. No matter how beautiful a crush may have been in youth, after repeated waves of resentment in one's heart, it will eventually become the very cause that destroys one's life. Gu Yen. Live on. Live forever in guilt. Carry with you the remorse for your mother, and also the remorse for the me from your past life. Aunt Gu still didn't make it past 2 months. Probably because the family had no savings. The funeral was very simple. I sent a bouquet of white chrysanthemums over, and sat at the banquet table with a few older women, listening to them gossip. A woman holding a child leaned in and whispered. Her mother was driven to death by him and that beautiful wife of his. The moment those words were spoken, they caught the attention of everyone at the table, all of them leaning forward, ears perked up. That beautiful wife of his ran off with a man. And her mother fainted and was rushed to the hospital. Just as she was finally recovering a bit, that woman came back. Can you guess why she returned? The aunt in the yellow shirt chimed in. Why did she come back? Money. She said she gave the Gu family a son, so they had to pay her. Or else she'd take the child away. The Gu family immediately started arguing with her, and it almost came to blows. What happened next? How did it turn out? As they argued, someone said in anger, who knows if the child is even from the Gu family? Goodness! That woman froze on the spot. The woman in yellow widened her eyes. No way. Could it really not be? The moment that woman got stuck, the Gu family realized something was wrong and immediately arranged for a paternity test. Guess what? The result confirmed the child wasn't biologically his. That sent Xiao Gu into shock, and both mother and son collapsed. I was stunned by the child's situation. They got married during their senior year of college after she became pregnant. But the child isn't Gu Yan's. That means Jiang Xinyue had cheated during university and kept it hidden for all these years. The woman in yellow sighed. No wonder they didn't fight over custody when they divorced. I was puzzled by that. The woman holding the baby snorted coldly. They didn't divorce. She just ran off with the child without going to the civil affairs office with Xiao Gu. Now no one can find her. There's no word at all. This is way too cruel. Tell me about it. After leaving Aunt Gu's funeral, I looked up at the blue sky and let out a long sigh. On the bus ride home, my thoughts gradually drifted away. Actually, I have met Jiang Xinyue. My team and I occasionally visit primary schools in economically underdeveloped cities to give science popularization lectures. Jiang Xinyue lives in Lucheng, and her son attends elementary school there. We each go to different classes to give lectures. and I randomly entered one classroom. Many children in the class raised their hands enthusiastically, very lively and full of the sunshine and vitality typical of children. Only a little boy sitting in the middle row of the classroom was very quiet, with no sparkle in his eyes. Although he sat in the middle of the classroom, surrounded by classmates, there seemed to be a clear boundary between him and the others. After the lecture ended, I asked the homeroom teacher, worried that it might be something like bullying at school. The homeroom teacher told me that this child had just transferred in last week, and before that, he had already changed schools 3 times. Since he's new, he doesn't talk much and isn't very lively. So the kids in the class haven't gotten to know him yet. I nodded in understanding and said to the homeroom teacher, if there are any class activities recently, include him. And he'll definitely start to open up. Kids often feel lost when they come to a new environment. When my team and I left, school had just ended. The entrance was crowded with parents picking up their children, bustling and lively. In the crowd, I spotted Jiang Xinyue at a glance. She had gained some weight, but her appearance was still striking. She crouched down to speak to the silent boy, but he gave her no response. Perhaps I had been watching for too long. As Jiang Xinyue noticed my gaze, she froze for a moment, then slowly stood up, her eyes suddenly turning fierce as she lunged forward without a second thought. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. You're the one who ruined me. The male colleague immediately stepped forward to stop her. Seeing her ferocious, clawing appearance, I found it hard to connect her with the delicate campus belle she once was. Jiang Xinyue spewed a torrent of filthy words, causing many people to frown. You see, some people can never see their own problems and only know how to shift the blame onto others. Looking at the little boy behind Jiang Xinyue, whose eyes were reddening, I spoke up. Jiang Xinyue, the child is watching. Do you still want to continue? It seemed as if her maternal instincts had suddenly been awakened. Jiang Xinyue stopped talking, but still kicked me fiercely. I was a bit puzzled. Although we'd had some friction, we'd seen each other last time at the hospital, there was no reason for such intense hostility. Suddenly, I remembered something and cautiously said, I thought you'd become a big star. In an instant, Jiang Xinyue exploded. She lunged at me wildly, and her sharp scream rang out once again. It's you. It's you. It's all your fault. This isn't my life. This isn't. Sure enough, Jiang Xinyue had also been reborn. When Jiang Xinyue went crazy again, a man pushed through the crowd, walked over, covered her mouth, and dragged her away. Sorry, my wife hasn't been thinking straight lately, always having these episodes. The man spoke while glaring angrily at Jiang Xinyue. Why do you keep talking about some big star? Isn't it embarrassing? The little boy silently followed the man, while Jiang Xinyue continued to struggle. I turned to ask the homeroom teacher beside me, who is this? That's the child's father. He was the one who handled the transfer at the school. I'm sorry, Professor Chiao. The child's mother rarely comes to pick him up, so we didn't know she was in this condition. It's fine. Years have passed, and I am striving to earn the title of academician. At the class reunion, everyone was still familiar with each other. The conversation shifted from discussing life to children's education, and then from children's education to urging them to get married. It's just that no one ever mentioned Gu Yan and Jiang Xinyue again. Over the years, I've spent most of my time in Kyoto and haven't gone back much, so I didn't know anything about Gu Yan and Jiang Xinyue. It seemed that my old classmates didn't know either, but the lack of news itself revealed a certain amount of information. After the dinner ended, I drove home. My new home is in an upscale residential complex, where even a one-bedroom unit is hard to come by now. Mom and Dad had originally taken a liking to this place because of its prime location and convenient transportation, so they bought up this whole stretch of land and built an upscale residential community. As I pushed open the door at home, Mom was already tugging on Dad's ear and scolding him. I already told you. You can't add too much water when kneading dough. Are you turning a deaf ear to what I say? How much flour have you ruined already? Can you even make it any more? Dad. On the other hand, was shamelessly prodding at the sticky dough in the bowl. Isn't it pretty good? It's edible. That's all that matters. The couple had long since retired, spending their mornings practicing Tai Chi and evenings dancing together at the square dance. At home, they usually cooked together, with Dad doing most of the work, only to be scolded by Mom afterward. Seeing me come back, Mom let go of her grip, gave her apron a quick pat, glanced at Dad, and then came over to talk to me. Dad gave a sheepish smile and pulled out his phone. Honey, since Xiao Shu has already eaten, how about we order takeout tonight? I want to eat barbecue. Alright, I'll place the order right away. It'll be delivered soon. Mom took off her apron, sat down next to me, and hesitantly began. Xiao Shu, I heard you broke up with your boyfriend. I found it a bit amusing. Yeah. We got too familiar with each other, and the feelings faded. So we broke up peacefully. Mom sighed. Xiao Shu, are you really not going to reconsider? It's better to settle down, even if you don't have children. Having a companion when you're old would be good. Dad also sat down and chimed in. Yes. Mom and Dad can't be with you forever. What will you do when you're all alone later? I lowered my head and smiled. Oh, Mom and Dad. I've always had people around me. Maybe one day I'll come around and find an old companion. But for now, forget it. I am busy with work. Having dealt with it well enough, I quickly slipped away. Such scenes happen often, and I've grown used to them. My parents' daily routine, eating, sleeping, and pushing me to get married. My daily routine, eating, sleeping, and being pushed to get married. But life goes on like this peacefully, happily.